Sometimes I don't want to guess that I'm right all the time because I'm wrong a lot of times. Every year, always happens. Off-season, training camp, all this stuff that's going on with competition with roster spots. Nick Sirianni said something interesting in the press conference yesterday that's really opening my eye to what I thought was going to happen is probably going to happen. That there is a real competition at certain positions we did not expect. So I want to go over that because I think it's really important. And to say, maybe I told you so, I don't know. I could be wrong. But let's get straight into all of it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So, hope everyone's enjoying their work week, by the way. And this is obviously a walkthrough day for the Philadelphia Eagles until our preseason game. And we are going to be moving on to our second preseason game. Very happy about that. Closer to the season, day by day. We are getting there. But interesting enough, from Nick Sirianni's press conference the other day, okay? Elliott Shorr-Parks put out a tweet. And obviously, I didn't listen to the whole thing because I was so busy the other day. But tweet came out. More information has come out on the position battles on defense. I'm not even, offensively, I'm not even worried about a lot of things. I'm really not. Defensively, we just, obviously, we've had a lot of pieces. We have a lot of new pieces. I understand. I totally get it. So Nick Sirianni says linebacker and running backs are two good position battles going on. Okay. Linebacker, obviously. Okay. We know that we're trying to find that counterpiece for the Kobe Dean, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But when it comes to running backs, there is an actual competition at running back. There is a lock at running. There's no lock at running back right now. Kenneth Gainwell, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, and Boston Scott. They're not keeping 5 running backs. We've said this a million times. I think they do keep 4. I think they keep 4 guys. But when you look at it, and like I said, the past week of the rumors, kind of hearing that there might be a case where it's going to be between Rashad Penny and Trey Sermon. Now, it's not saying that Trey Sermon and Penny are in competition, but from what he said at his press conference before practice on the final days of joint practices against the Browns, I think there's a legit competition here now. It's not Swift, it's not Gainwell, it's not Boston Scott. Boston Scott's going to be playing, he's going to be on kick return duty, and, he'll play running back if they really need him for a game, okay? Boston Scott's not going anywhere, as much as people think he is. This competition is between Trey Sermon and Rashad Penny. Said this a million times. And I think what comes out of it is I can't take the first preseason game and say, oh, this player's better, this player sucks. I can't go far as that. Because in the moment of it really sucks. Between wide receivers need to have a good quarterback. Thank God Tanner McKee was a really good look for a lot of these wide receivers, because we probably wouldn't know half the talent of these wide receivers if it wasn't for Tanner McKee in that preseason game, and obviously during training camp as well. But when you're in the moment, Rashad Penny didn't have the best day, but it wasn't a bad day. Trey Sermon had a pretty good day, and between both of them in that preseason game against the Ravens, I thought that Trey Sermon had the better day. Just the better day. In the moment. One preseason game, I'm not saying that Trey Sermon's better. I'm not saying nothing. All I'm going to say is that, look, they're getting all these running backs into the passing game, because even from the joint practices, they were throwing to everybody, which was really nice. Getting these running backs, the element that we were missing last year was not just having one running back in Gainwell that's going to be catching everything. Okay, you're going to be able to use any running back you want, and, depending on the play and depending on if you want a faster guy or if you want to use Swift, if you want to use Gainwell on certain plays, you have the choice of doing that. But to be honest with you, Rashad Penny just didn't look bad, didn't look fantastic, but he was fine. Had a couple good runs. He was running into piles. I thought his vision was kind of it depends what the offensive line is too at the time. If Trey Sermon had the same offensive line as Rashad Penny and Sermon is playing better, I would like to see, we could say, hey, Sermon's not playing well because of that offensive line. Let's put Rashad Penny with the first team offensive line and see what happens. I bet you he'll ball out, which he probably would. You know what I mean? But Nick I think there's something brewing here with this running back core. I think Trey Sermon is starting to sneak his way very close to making a roster spot. And look, Rashad Penny's only getting paid $600,000 this year. That's it. You know what I mean? I think a little bit of incentives, but it's a cheap contract. Rashad Penny is, only played 5 games last year. Trey Sermon was used in 2 games last year. That's 1 game last year. That's it. 2 snaps. That Jaguars game last year. They're always talking about great things about Sermon last offseason, going into the middle of last season. I mean, talking great things. And then, they activate him. We're really happy. And then they use him for 2 plays. And then they never activate him again. I think he was activated 2 times last year. Okay? He was activated 2 times. And he was never used in the second game he was activated. I don't know what game he was activated in first and second. I'm not sure, but I know he was activated twice. So why didn't they give him a chance last year? I think they're starting to see that the guy can produce. Because I'm telling you right now, you're at the end when you have to make these cuts in August. I mean, whenever we're done in a few weeks, whenever you have to make these cuts, Trey Sermon's going to be on another roster. Trey Sermon is not making it through waivers. Rashad Penny doing good things this year, okay? Rashad Penny, with Seattle, he weighed like 233 to 237. He lost a lot of weight. The Eagles health department has really been taking care of him. He feels lighter on his feet, okay? Feels a lot lighter on his feet. And, he wants to get down to he's pretty much close to 225, and he feels a lot better. So maybe not being the heaviest as he used to be is helping him. I think being a lot lighter with his weight is helping him, be a little bit more shifty, and I guess his health feels better as an NFL football player. As a running back position is not an easy position to maintain your body, so I get it. Okay, but here's another thing that's interesting too. Okay, Trey Sermon was used on kick returns. I feel like they're just trying to get so much more out of him to see what else he could do. And if they're using Trey Sermon not only as a running back, but at least putting him on special teams as a kick returner, as a specialist, which I don't know. He looked bad. I don't know. As a kicker, he's not a kick returner. Okay, he's not. I mean, I don't know what Michael Clay's doing, and that's a whole nother conversation we can have another day. But when they give a guy that many reps, and they put him on 2 different positions and on special teams, like I said, it's an eye-opener to say that they really want to see what else Trey Sermon could do. And if there's a real competition here, there could be a big chance that Trey Sermon beats out Rashad Penny for that 4th running back spot, or within that 4, whatever the case may be with that. Okay? They're not keeping 5 running backs. So that's just way too much. We need more depth at other positions. They just would never do that. Okay? Even though 4 is a nice number too. You know what I mean? But I feel like if you have Boston Scott playing special teams and probably won't get as much snaps, and God forbid somebody gets hurt, Boston Scott is activated as a running back on top of his of doing kick returns or whatever he's doing this year, if he's placed on kick returns this year for the Eagles. So this is actually pretty interesting and pretty exciting. I mean, I'm a big fan of Rashad Penny. I don't think it's fair right now to say that he's going to lose the job. I don't. But Trey Sermon is working his tail off, and he's making a comeback. And Eagles are finally starting to see it. And, yeah, we could have a lot here. So that was the news on the running backs. And there's something going on with the running back position right now between those two. And it's not reported. It's not official. It's not nothing. When Sirianni says there's a good position battle going on at running back, that means that there's somebody else they're looking at right now to take a roster spot. And I think it's going to be Trey Sermon. That's just me. And obviously going into, the linebacker position, I think that was one that we were like, okay, cool. There's a lot of competition there. We already know this. But since Nick said linebacker has competition, there's a good competition there. Does that mean for the safety position now that it's already a lock for Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown? Sidney Brown has been on top of things. They've been flip-flopping safeties pretty much since OTAs to now in training camp. With Justin Evans, Kevon Wallace, they've been really moving guys around. Terrell Edmonds is really, I don't think, is going to be up on that depth chart as far as we thought he was going to be when we first signed him. Okay? Sidney Brown has been making huge strides. He wants to be known as a violent player in the league. He wants to be recognized as that because I could already tell. Got into a fight the other day with the other team, laid somebody out, flying around making tackles, doesn't give up on coverage. Very physical when he gives up on coverage, going through the arms of the receiver on coverage or whatever's going on. Reed Blankenship is obviously a lock. There's no doubt. I mean, at this point with Reed, it's like, wow. I mean, he went undrafted. How? You know what I mean? Like, what talent? I mean, I think it hands down. We have to really thank the coaching with the Eagles and what they've done with Reed so far, because that's just amazing to have an undrafted free agent. And we've had plenty. We've hit on guys. We've hit on T.J. Edwards. We've hit on Jack Stahl. You know, we've hit on some guys. Even Mario Goodrich is competing for that nickel spot with Zech McPherson right now. You know what I mean? I think that's an important position as well with Mario Goodrich, and he was paid the most money. I think last year he was paid the most money as an undrafted free agent from Clemson. So there's a lot of different things going on right now. But safety wise, like, I think Sidney Brown they already made up their mind. If Nick Sirianni is saying that linebacker and running back are two good position battles right now, that means that it's telling me, unless I'm wrong, it's telling me that they have a lock at safety right now. They're set at safety right now. They already know what direction they're going in, and I think it's going to be Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown. And I've said Sidney Brown making his way up. And I was kind of confused. I mean, he played in the second half of the Ravens game. I thought he actually got into the game in the fourth quarter. I don't know why I didn't see him too much. But he was in the whole second half pretty much. And I think it's a lock there. I really do. I mean, draft picks are getting starting roles. That's a good sign. Undrafted. Eagles are hitting on undrafted players. Eagles are drafting well. Eagles are trading well. Howie Roseman is going to have, which goes to my next segment, Howie Roseman is going to have the toughest time with this roster. This is probably the most deepest, most gifted roster I've ever seen, because it's not just guys you sign out of free agency, or guys that have been here already that you're really relying on. It's undrafted free agents. It's draft picks. It's trade players you traded for. It's just nuts, man. I think the new rule this year is they have to cut the roster from 90 to 53 in one day. I mean, that's what I heard, but I'm hoping it's not. It's going to be real tough. It's good for us to cut in one day because, it's bad actually because, hard decision, you don't have much time to make these decisions. And then two, it's good for us if other teams are releasing players in case we need a specialist or something like that. You can always get somebody off waivers. Other teams are going to be making tough cuts too that had good preseason games. Preseason for players is you're putting a show on for the whole NFL to see you to get a job somewhere else if you're not staying with the team that you're on for that preseason game with. Okay, you're putting yourself out there and kind of entertaining all NFL teams when you're in a preseason game. So unless, they do something different, but I feel there's a lock at safety right now. Running back, there's a real competition. And, if they want to keep an extra guy and if they're able to get somebody on practice squad and they know they're not going to be able to protect him, they're going to have to protect him, every single week so he doesn't get picked off by another team. You know what I mean? Because if you're on practice squad, somebody could acquire you, and that's it. You know what I mean? So I think you have, you could protect 2 players per week, I think. I don't know what the rule is with the protecting players. I think it's 2 players, something like that, every week during the regular season. But I want to know from you guys what you guys think is there. What do you take from a real competition at running back and linebacker? Linebacker's obvious. Running back, did you expect that? Or have you been rooting for Trey Sermon? Or do you think Rashad Penny is going to stay in Philadelphia? Could there be a cut there? That's what it's telling me. And how do you feel about the starting safeties? Do you think they've made up their mind yet at that position? So definitely a lot here to go over. But you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys on the next one. If you guys last us on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well. Helps that channel out so much. Thank you for all the support, all the comments. Try to get to all you guys as much as I possibly can. Enjoy your day. I'll see you guys later. Shakes, what up? Follows live. Peace out, guys. Peace.